Greetings, nerds. Welcome to the 22nd episode of Facebook City. Now, the next neighborhood we're about to draw in this episode, and for the Savern Borough, but most importantly for the Facebook City drawing, is going to be a really weird name, WATERWOOD. By the way, happy Monday. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and start drawing the neighborhood.
I called this neighborhood WATERWOOD because, well, I know it's a really absurd and goofy name, but hey, I really don't give a crap here, so yeah. But anyway, I call it WATERWOOD because I'm just deeply associated with the color blue. We know water isn't always blue. It depends, like, how much water is in one spot, you know, in one situation. The more water you get, the bluer it gets because of the blue light, and, like, it has to do with the sun and, like, the electromagnetic spectrum and the blue light being scattered and the rest of the lights being absorbed. I'm not good with science, by the way. And I live, like, I don't even know how many miles I live away from Lake Michigan. I live maybe about 10 plus miles away from Lake Michigan. And we know Lake Michigan is blue, but not all the time, though. It depends, like, how sunny it is. We know the ocean is always blue. And we know a bunch of other lakes and ponds and maybe seas and rivers are blue, so I'm just all about the color blue. It's all about the color blue. I want to mention these fictional places for the WATERWOOD neighborhood that we drew. Let's go ahead and begin. WATERWOOD Homes, a housing project. WATERWOOD Driving School. What Jamaican? Get it, nerds? It's supposed to be a pun on the phrase, what are you making? And it's there's a lazier way of saying, what are you making? What Jamaican? It's a restaurant that sells a bunch of Jamaican food and a bunch of other Caribbean meals and all of that stuff. Caribbean Culture Museum, WATERWOOD Theater. It's not like one of those cinema that you go to and you watch a bunch of movies. You go to this theater to check out the plays, you know, any of the drama stuff. And last but not least, Marcus Garvey Church. It's named after the activists. It's going to be pretty complicating to see, but a little bit, like, towards the end of this episode, I actually came up with a bunch of street names, and some of these street names are named after the numbers. You know how there's a bunch of major cities around the world, that have a bunch of street names that are basically numbers going in order. Let's say 20th Street, 21st Street, 22nd, 23rd, 24th, and so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. And Chicago is like that. And by the way, it's my birthplace, and I pretty much know a lot of streets are like that. Well, actually, some streets are like that. They would have numbers going in order, and not all of the streets are like that. So yeah, New York City is the same way. I felt pretty darn lazy by just only working on one fictional neighborhood in this episode. I should have just worked on two again, but next time, well, one day again, I will draw two fictional Facebook City neighborhoods for this season. So yeah, don't worry, nerds. I'm probably gonna draw just one fictional neighborhood again in the next episode.
Okay, nerds, here's the finished fictional neighborhood of WATERWOOD. Right here, we got more row buildings over here. I drew more row buildings, as you can see. No fire escape stairs whatsoever for a single building. Got the Marcus Garvey Church over here. WATERWOOD Theater. Got the driving school of WATERWOOD. I drew some parking spaces. I drew a couple more parking spaces up here as well. This is supposed to be a driving course. Unfortunately, these buildings are blocking it. We got the WATERWOOD Homes. which is basically the projects, and I drew some trees that are surrounding these buildings, and I drew more trees along the Shakespeare River over here. We got the Caribbean Culture Museum, and we got a restaurant that sells Jamaican food and Caribbean food. It's called What Jamaican. So not too many fictional places for another fictional neighborhood. A bunch of neighborhoods are like that for the Facebook City drawing. And so far we drew 8 fictional neighborhoods of the Savorin Borough. That's about halfway, so yeah. So that is going to be the end of this episode, the end of this video. Stay tuned for more content. I hope this video was quite enjoyable to watch. I hope this episode was quite enjoyable to watch. And I will catch each and every one of you nerds later, so thanks for watching.
Dork alert!